Welcome to OOD Works, the podcast, a show about unique individuals and services provided by Opportunities for Ohioans with Disabilities, the state agency that helps individuals with disabilities find a job and be more independent. Here's your host, Kim Jump.
Allison Boot is a passionate advocate for individuals with disabilities. She wrote books including Just the Way You Are, The Magic Within, and Love the Way You Dance to spread a message of self-acceptance to young people with disabilities. A former participant with Opportunities for Ohioans with Disabilities, Allen is also Miss Wheelchair Ohio 2023, and she's using her platform to advocate for more inclusive literature, which I cannot wait to hear about. Allison, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Well, the pleasure is all mine. And I'm curious, Allison, how did you get into writing in the first place?
I've loved to write ever since I was a kid. When I was a little girl, it just became my way of expressing how I was feeling and my emotions, because I found it easier to express them through characters and in stories. And then the older I got, the more I realized what a valuable tool writing could be when it comes to advocating and standing up for myself. So that's how I dove into it more as I became older. And the main reason I started writing disability inclusive literature is because I've always loved to read. I've always said that you can't be a writer unless you're also a reader. But growing up, I didn't see characters that looked like me in the books I read. So I really wanted to change that, which is one of the main reasons that I write stories featuring characters with disabilities.
Oh, I love that. And you use the expression inclusive literature. Can you explain to folks who are listening what you mean by inclusive literature?
In my case, I'm talking about inclusive literature in the sense that my literature features characters with disabilities. But inclusive literature could also include characters of different ethnicities or races, characters from LGBTQIA plus community. That's the beauty of inclusive literature. It is innately inclusive and can cover all kinds of different characters and a really broad spectrum of stories that can represent anyone. That's the beauty of it, and that's why I love it so much.
Yeah. And you spoke about, as a young girl, in reading, looking, hoping to find characters that look like you, or noticing the fact that none of the characters looked like you. Can you talk more about that?
Yes, growing up, there just wasn't characters in wheelchairs or really with any kind of disability in popular literature outside of like Tiny Tim type characters or Quasimodo. Those are two of the main stereotypes.
Right.
I would say in the last maybe 10 years or so, there's been a little bit more of a push just because there is thankfully more visibility and acceptance in society now, but there's still a long way to go in this regard, which is one of the reasons why I work so hard to write the stories that I write.
Yeah, and as a parent, I just want you to know I really appreciate that, because I think through seeing through a character's eyes or in reading through a book, that opens up brand new possibilities for children.
Yes, and that's what I want. I want young readers to be able to see themselves in the characters that I write, and in inclusive literature, I really try to push to give young readers heroes that resemble them, that they can relate to and look up to, so that they know that they're capable of doing anything that they set their minds to, and that they could have really big dreams and do what they want to in this life and live it to the fullest, even with their disabilities.
Yeah, it's powerful. Absolutely powerful. What role, Allison, do you think inclusive literature plays in helping to develop empathy in readers?
Oh, so much. I think a lot of it goes back to education and awareness, because empathy can't come into play until those two things happen.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of kids, if they don't know someone with a disability or someone that is from a different community than one that they might be from, they're not going to understand those differences because they haven't been exposed to them. So educating them through stories is a really fun way to expose them to that and help them understand the differences in a way that's not intimidating and a way that can be fun.
Yeah, that's a great point. That is a really fun way to get through.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I would say that that's definitely the role that it plays, and that it's an educational tool that creates awareness and just is fun for kids.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just fun. Along the way that you've been advocating for inclusive literature, have you come up against challenges? And kind of, if so, how have you responded?
Yes, I think a lot of the challenges that I've seen go back to those stereotypes that I spoke about earlier, the Tiny Tim type characters or Quasimodo. Those tend to be what people think of when they think of characters with disabilities. So just kind of having to break through that expectation has been a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And then also just breaking into more of a children or young adult type genre audience. Because as I said, growing up, I didn't see characters that looked like me in the books I read. For years, you would only read about disability in self-help or parental advice books. There weren't really a lot of stories, so to speak, that included characters that were told from our point of view. So just sort of developing the genre and overcoming those stereotypes have been the main challenges.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. Well, congrats on your title, Miss Wheelchair Ohio.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. What led you to take on the competition?
Well, I'm from Dayton originally, but I lived in Illinois for 6 years with he was my boyfriend at the time. Now he's my husband. We lived there for 6 years and decided to come back to Ohio because of the pandemic and needing to be closer to family. as a result of the home care crisis. But when I came back here, I noticed that a lot of my friends had either moved away or were at different stages in their life. So one of the main reasons that I chose to do Ms. Wheelchair Ohio was just to meet more people. I mean, aside from broadening my inclusive literature platform, was just to meet more people, specifically women with disabilities, that I could relate to.
Sure. Do you feel like the competition gave you that? Have you developed new friendships?
Yes, I definitely have. It's been very nice, even though the other ladies are from different parts of Ohio. We stay in touch over Zoom. Mentoring is a big part of Ms. Wheelchair Ohio as well. So I've been able to help the other ladies also expand their platforms and plan for future competitions, just in my role as the title holder and a mentor, which I've really enjoyed. And they are all wonderful ladies and wonderful advocates, so it's been really great to connect with them.
Super. How do you think the platform is helping you spread awareness for inclusive literature?
I have gotten to do so much as Ms. Wheelchair Ohio and talk to people that I wouldn't have normally gotten to talk to, such as state legislators. Brian Lampton, for example, the president of the Greene County Board of Commissioners, Rick Perales, he's very nice and he's a wonderful advocate for those with disabilities. He's been one of my main sponsors as I prepare for the Miss Wheelchair America competition. So just getting to talk to individuals like that and tell them about the importance of inclusive literature and the power that it can have on readers, specifically children, and how it can help to kind of shape the way that they think about those that are different from them. I've been talking about those things for quite some time, but having the title and being able to talk to very important people has just been a game changer.
Yeah, that's excellent. I'm happy that you're getting those opportunities. That's super. Are you comfortable talking about your disability?
Yes, I have cerebral palsy. I was born with it because my mother was in a car accident while I was in utero.
And have you always been a wheelchair user?
Yes.
Okay.
I've used a power wheelchair since I was 6.
Okay. Since you were 6. Gotcha. And you had shared with me, Allison, that you are a former participant with our agency, Opportunities for Ohioans with Disabilities. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yes, I graduated from West Carrollton High School. And when I was graduating and preparing to go to college, the school psychologist actually connected me with Opportunities for Ohioans with Disabilities and told me that they would be able to help me plan for college and beyond, and that's what they did. And I've always been very grateful for the experience with them. The program actually helped to pay for my undergraduate education at Wright State. I have a Bachelor of Arts in Communication from there and a Master of Arts from the University of Dayton, also in communication. But I wouldn't have been able to go on and get my master's if it wouldn't have been for first working with Opportunities for Ohioans with disabilities to get that bachelor's. So I've always been um, grateful for that. And then I worked with a job counselor through the program as well after getting my bachelor's, who helped me to find my first professional job at the Access Center for Independent Living in Dayton, Ohio. I worked as their communications coordinator for a while.
Super. That is fabulous. I'm so glad that the agency was able to be helpful to you with education and that support into your career. And now look at you.
Yes. I would definitely recommend them to others because transitioning from high school to college or college and beyond, or just in general, times of transition are very difficult for anyone, in particular those with disabilities. So it's very important to have people at those times of transition to help you plan and kind of work through the challenges. And that's what Opportunities for Ohioans with Disabilities did for me. So I definitely hope that others look into the organization and take advantage of what's offered.
Well, thank you for that. I really appreciate it, Allison. And you'll be happy to know that through Governor DeWine's most recent operating budget for OOD, we're able to do even more for students and have counselors that are designated to colleges throughout Ohio. So you are a testament to why that's just so powerful. And I really appreciate hearing you emphasize how it's so valuable during times of transition. That's a great point.
Yes.
Yeah. Tell us what happens next as you go on to compete for the national title of Ms. Wheelchair America.
Yes, I actually leave in less than a week to do that. I will be leaving on Sunday to go to Grand Rapids, Michigan for a week for the competition. This year it'll be myself and 17 other title holders competing.
Great.
Ms. Wheelchair America is about empowering women with disabilities and just giving us a platform to talk about whatever it is that we're passionate about. In my case, inclusive literature. And it's very important to emphasize that it's not a beauty pageant. They don't even like to call it a pageant. It's an advocacy competition. So basically, out of the state title holders, they're looking for the most articulate representative of the disability community. So that's what it comes down to, our advocacy platform and communication skills. But I think even more so than the competition and becoming Ms. Wheelchair America, the beauty of this whole thing is just being able to connect with other women advocates with disabilities, because it's very rare that so many of us get to be in one room and talk to each other and get to know each other on the level that we are. And I'll tell you, I've participated in some Zoom calls with some of the other ladies just so we can try and get to know each other prior to the competition. And I already feel so connected to them and can't wait to meet them in person. So I'm sure it's going to be very powerful. I would also be remiss if I didn't say that Columbus, Ohio actually has the bragging rights that the Miss Wheelchair America competition started there.
Okay, cool.
Back in the 70s, Dr. Philip Wood, I believe was his name, was talking to some people about pageants and got to thinking how it wasn't fair that some of his patients with disabilities didn't have one to participate in. So he started a competition in Ohio, and it got so much attention that Ms. Wheelchair America was created from that. So I just think that's very cool that Columbus, Ohio has, Ohio in general has that bragging right that Ms. Wheelchair America was started here.
I agree. I didn't realize that history. That's fascinating. And we're recording in August 2023. So by the time this comes out, you'll have already competed. But I'm sure listeners would agree with me that we are rooting for you. We want to see Allison Boot be Ms. Wheelchair America 2023.
It would actually be 2024.
Oh, yeah, right.
But yes, thank you. I am really hoping. But regardless, I'm just very excited and honored to be able to represent Ohio in the competition. But yes, I am hoping to bring it home for us. And it would actually be the first time ever, even though Miss Wheelchair America was started in Ohio. If I do win, it'll be the first time that Miss Wheelchair Ohio has won Miss Wheelchair America. So I'm really hoping for that.
Yes, it's time. I think it's high time. That's wow, even more reason to root for you. That's fascinating. So you're going to do the competition, the national competition, and then kind of what's next after that for you?
Well, I recently went to my local Barnes and Noble bookstore to speak to them about arranging a book signing, and I'm very excited to say that they responded favorably, so I will be planning that for after nationals. I don't have a date in mind yet because I've been very busy preparing for the competition, but that will be coming up. And I'm actually working on a fourth book right now as well, which I'm hoping to have published by December. The 3 books I have published now, they're young adult books. This one's slightly different because it's geared towards younger children, but it's actually about a unicorn in a wheelchair.
Oh, I love it.
Which I'm very excited about. I have had the opportunity to go to some elementary schools and talk to children as Ms. Wheelchair Ohio about inclusive literature and just spreading awareness and acceptance in general. I've gotten to not only show them my books, but talk to them about what they want to read. So I'm really hoping that little girls will respond to the story about a unicorn in a wheelchair. Because who doesn't love unicorns?
Exactly. That's super fun. Good luck as you finish that up. And I'd like to invite you to tell listeners, where should they go if they want to connect with you or take a look at the books you've published so that they can purchase them?
Yes, I have an author website. It's Allison M as in Marie Boot author.com. They can go there, or they can look me up on Amazon. Again, my author name is Allison M. Boot. Or if they want to learn more about the Ms. Wheelchair Ohio competition or me and what I've been doing as the reigning title holder, they can visit MsWheelchairOH.org. So I encourage you to go there if you would like to learn more about the competition. It's open to women wheelchair users in Ohio ages 21 and up. There are there are Ms. Wheelchair organizations in, I believe, about 24 other states have active organizations right now. But as I said, this year the Ms. Wheelchair America competition will include myself and 17 other ladies.
Awesome. Well, I want to definitely encourage everyone to go visit those places. Let's support Allison. We'll make sure the links are in the show notes too, to make it easy for folks to find you.
Yes, and I also have social media on Facebook. It's just Ms. Wheelchair Ohio 2023 Allison Boot. And on Instagram, MWOH 2023 _ Allison Boot. So you can also follow me on those platforms to find out more about what I've been doing as a state title holder. And I will be posting photos and videos from the Ms. Wheelchair America competition next week. So be sure
that'll
to
be fun
check those out.
Yes, definitely. That's great. Well, Allison, as we wrap up and wish you well as you go to compete, any final thoughts you'd want to leave listeners with?
Yes. What I really want people to understand is that my platform, yes, it's about inclusive literature, but it's also just about spreading disability awareness and acceptance throughout Ohio and society in general. I want people to know that people with disabilities can still live full, equitable lives with our disabilities, and then we don't necessarily need to overcome them or be cured of them.
Right.
We can live full, happy lives as people with disabilities, and inclusive literature, particularly disability inclusive literature, is a way to show and celebrate that.
A transcript of today's episode is available at ood.ohio.gov/podcast. We welcome you to subscribe and leave a review. We're on social media at Ohio OOD. Do you have a disability? Do you want a job? We can help. oodworks.com.